You've ever have one of those neighbors who just can't seem to mind their own business? Well, let me tell you what happened when Karen kind of Karen, decided to cross the line in the most unexpected way. I live out in the country, a little off the beaten path, and I've got a root cellar out back. It's not fancy, but it holds all my canned goods, emergency supplies, and a few other things I like to keep stored away. Most folks respect boundaries out here. Not her. It started with small stuff, asking too many questions, wandering too close to my property line, peeking over the fence. Harmless, annoying, but manageable. Until one afternoon, I noticed the cellar door cracked open. Now, I always keep it shut tight. My stomach dropped. I grabbed my flashlight and headed down, not knowing what I was about to find. And there she was, Karen, in my root cellar, rummaging through my shelves like she owned the place. No explanation, no apology. Just caught red-handed. So I did what anyone would do in that moment. I stepped out, shut the door behind me, and called the sheriff. You're not gonna believe what happened next, because that's when things really took a turn. Now, before you start thinking I'm the crazy one for locking her in, let me give you some background. This wasn't the first time Karen had overstepped. Ever since she moved in down the road, she's been poking around, asking way too many personal questions, and acting like this was her land. She'd complain about everything, from the way I mow my lawn to the smoke from my backyard fire pit. Always watching, always lurking, like she was just waiting to catch me doing something wrong. But I never imagined she'd actually sneak into my root cellar. What really got me was how calm she was when I found her. Like she belonged down there. No fear, no shame, just stood there holding one of my old mason jars like she was browsing a store shelf. She mumbled something about checking for toxins and community safety, which made absolutely no sense. And the weirdest part, there were footprints in the dust that didn't match hers, smaller ones, like maybe someone else had been down there recently too. So yeah, I shut the door and called the sheriff, but as I stood outside, heart racing, something didn't sit right. Why was she really down there? And who else might have been sneaking around my property? That's when I heard a noise, and it wasn't coming from the cellar. I froze. The sound wasn't loud, but it was enough, like a soft shuffle in the leaves just beyond the tree line. I glanced back at the cellar door, making sure it was still shut tight, then slowly stepped off the porch, scanning the woods with my flashlight. Out here, we get raccoons, sometimes coyotes, but this felt different. My gut was already on edge from finding Karen where she didn't belong, and now this. It was too much for one evening. I circled around the back of the house, careful not to make a sound. That's when I noticed something else that sent a chill up my spine. One of the back window screens had been pushed in, like someone had tried to get inside. I hadn't seen that earlier. Was Karen acting alone, or was someone else involved? The sheriff still hadn't shown up, and cell service out here is spotty at best. I thought about heading to my truck to drive into town, but something told me not to leave the property. If someone was out there, I wasn't about to hand them an empty house. Meanwhile, Karen hadn't made a single sound. It was like she wanted to be caught. Or maybe she wasn't the one who had planned all this. What if she was a distraction? A cover for something else going on right under my nose? I crept back toward the cellar, every step feeling heavier than the last. My flashlight flickered once, then came back on, but it rattled me. I gripped it tighter. The woods were quiet again. Too quiet. No wind, no bugs, just this thick silence pressing in on me like the whole place was holding its breath. When I got close enough to the cellar, I crouched low and listened. Still nothing. No movement inside. I called out, half expecting Karen to start yelling or banging on the door, but she didn't. That's when it hit me. What if she wasn't alone down there? My mind started racing. Were those smaller footprints earlier from a kid? Or someone trying to make it look like that? I hadn't checked the whole cellar. I just saw Karen and panicked. Maybe that's exactly what she wanted. Just then, a light flashed through the trees, headlights. The sheriff. I should have felt relief, but instead, the tension snapped even tighter. Because right before those lights showed up, I heard a second noise, this time inside the house. A door creaking open. Slow, deliberate. I spun around, flashlight aimed at the back porch, and there it was, my screen door swinging gently like it had just been pushed. Not by wind. Somebody was inside, and it sure wasn't Karen. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear the creaking door anymore. I held my breath, creeping up the steps with my flashlight barely steady in my hand. I wanted to call out, just yell and get it over with, but something told me to stay quiet. Whoever was in my house didn't want to be seen, and that made them way more dangerous than Karen poking around a root cellar. As I pushed the door open, I caught the faintest glimpse of movement, just a shadow slipping down the hallway. I stepped inside, careful not to let the door slam behind me. The air felt heavier, like the walls themselves knew something wasn't right. That's when I noticed muddy prints on the floor, fresh ones. Smaller than mine, bigger than a kid's. Not Karen's either. Someone else had been here before me. Then the power went out. Total darkness swallowed the room. The flashlight flickered again, then cut out completely. I stood frozen, straining to hear anything. Breathing, a footstep, anything, but it was silent. Too silent. My backup batteries were outside in the truck, but there was no way I was stepping back out there. Not now. And then, through the pitch black, I heard the faint sound of the cellar door unlatching. From the inside. I bolted for the back door, nearly slipping on the floor trying to get outside. The flashlight sparked back to life just long enough for me to catch a glimpse. Karen, crawling up from the cellar like something straight out of a nightmare. But she wasn't alone. Behind her, a man I'd never seen before appeared in the doorway, his face pale and drawn, like he hadn't seen sunlight in weeks. I shouted for the sheriff, who was just pulling into the driveway. He came running, hand on his holster, as Karen dropped to the ground and started yelling that I had locked her in against her will. The man behind her said nothing, just stared at me, then at the sheriff, then turned and walked straight toward the woods. The sheriff cuffed Karen after a short back and forth, but the real shock came when we opened the cellar fully. Turns out, the man had been hiding down there for days, living off my supplies. Karen knew him. Her ex, apparently. She'd been sneaking him food, using my cellar as some kind of hiding spot. Said he was in danger, and she had no choice. But the twist? When the sheriff ran his name through the system, there was no record. No ID, no missing person report. It was like he didn't exist at all, and he never came back. After that night, nothing felt the same around here. The cellar's been cleared out, locks replaced, and motion lights now cover every corner of the property. Karen was taken in for trespassing and obstruction, but she didn't say much during questioning. Just kept repeating that he needed help, and they were watching him. The sheriff did a full search of the woods, even brought in a few dogs, but the man was gone. No trail, no scent, nothing. It was like he vanished into the trees. I spent days trying to figure out what really happened, why Karen chose my place, why she thought hiding someone in my cellar was the best plan. Maybe she wasn't lying about him being in danger, or maybe she was just covering for something deeper. I'll never really know. The strangest part? A week later, I found one of my old mason jars sitting on my front porch. Clean, sealed, empty, no note, no prints. Just placed there like a quiet message. I haven't seen Karen since. Living out here, you expect some weird stuff now and then, but this changed everything. So if you've got a root cellar, double-check the lock and trust your gut, because sometimes it's the only warning you'll get.